got to meet a new member of the family a few days ago. A brand new member. He is my niece Juliet's baby son, named Johnny Lawrence, born about 5 weeks ago, so he is still very much a newborn. And he reminds me of Juliet when she was a baby. I remember holding her when she was about the same age. She was born with a shock of long blonde hair that stood straight up on top. We used to call her Woodstock after the Peanuts movie, you can imagine. And little Johnny Lawrence also has the beginnings of a cowlick on the top of his head. But even more than that, what struck me is that he sleeps like she did, with his fingers splayed out and his wrist touching his forehead like this. Which makes him a little vulnerable if he is startled or jerks when he's sleeping or feels himself falling. How many of you have heard of the Moro reflex? Have you heard of that? Okay. Well, when healthy babies are born, and for a few months after, they exhibit what's called the Moro reflex when they're startled or feel themselves falling. It happens in 2 stages. First, they fling their arms wide and startle, and then their posture contracts, like their arms coming together. It's more like this. They don't clench their fists yet. But Wikipedia says that it may be an early instinct that protects newborns from falling because it causes babies to embrace their mother and regain their hold on the mother's body. But that very important reflex also means that newborns are kind of chronically anxious. And they let us know that with the piercing newborn cry that they are asking to be soothed. You may know that what parents have used for millennia to comfort their babies is a technique called swaddling. It means to wrap babies tightly in a length of cloth that holds their arms and legs close to their bodies, giving them the reassurance that the world is a safe place. And when we read tonight that baby Jesus is wrapped in bands of cloth before he's placed in his impromptu bed, a feeding trough for large animals called a manger, we might realize that he is absolutely human and needs the reassurance that swaddling gives him. He needs to know, as all human babies need to know, that his mother, father, or another caring adult will give him the love and care that he so desperately needs. And at this age, even for Jesus, this is how he knows God's love. And when the shepherds are told about his birth, the angels say, "This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." Wrapped and laid in a manger. According to Luke, Jesus enters our world in this way. And here's something else I realized. At the end of the book of Luke, we're told that he leaves it in the same way. After Jesus' death, we read that a man named Joseph of Arimathea goes to Pontius Pilate and asks for Jesus' body. And Joseph takes Jesus' body from the cross, wraps it in a linen cloth, and lays it in a tomb. And the women who have been with Jesus are present. They see him wrapped and laid in the tomb. Later, they will see the discarded wrapping as they stare in amazement and hope. Wrapping and laying, birth and death, the one who will live, die, and be raised for us. And it all starts here, with a baby who was like all babies. David Longard says, in the Gospel of Luke, there are 2 brief references to Jesus' wardrobe. At his birth, Jesus was bound in bands of cloth, just as he was at his death. Jesus was bound to die. Jesus was bound to die in order to free us from all that seeks to bind and choke us. Our fears, our brokenness, our unfaithfulness, even death itself. In Jesus' resurrection, the bands that bind us are cut away, and we are set free to put our burial clothes away, to live each day in the light of grace. Jesus bound to die, Jesus born to set us free. In other words, in every Christmas, there is a little Good Friday, followed by Easter. And in every Easter, we look back to the bands that first held him, that can hold him no longer. So here is a question for you tonight. Do you need swaddling? Are you easily startled or chronically anxious? You feel yourself falling in some way. Maybe God is inviting you to embrace your Lord and Savior and hold on. Maybe it's not the morrow reflex, but the tomorrow reflex. Because the one who holds you is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Here is the good news of great joy for all the people. Jesus binds us in his love, and it starts here. That we might be free to comfort and free others. Binding that brings comfort in anxious times. Soothing that brings peace in troubled times. And he shows us what true humanity looks and sounds like, that we might recognize it in everyone we meet. Everyone we meet. Especially people who are sick or sad, cold or hungry. Enfolding them in our arms and freeing them as we ourselves are freed to be people of generosity, love, and peace. The Hebrew name Bethlehem means house of bread. This evening, you're all invited to come forward in this house of bread to receive food for the journey. Merry Christmas, dear friends. The one who is your Savior loves you on this holy night and every day of your life.